Hey everybody, I'm Hamza Krumza, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to do a standard 27+2 population fast castle boom for Black Forest, free-for-all, and some team games. I know a lot of newer players like to start out playing Black Forest so they can boom and build up their armies, and I also know that even a lot of experienced players have trouble kicking off their economies past their feudal build orders, so this should hopefully help solve some of those problems. I hope you all enjoy. So I wanted to start out this intro a little bit differently by saying that build orders are less of a science, less of a law than they are an art. So build orders are going to provide you the best path to a specific result, provided, that you aren't attacked or delayed in some way. So I would suggest that you play to the strength of your civilization and also to the situation of the map itself. So if you have more boars on the map, go and collect those boars and build less farms. If your economy has a bonus towards wood, maybe build, or have less villagers on your wood than you would have them building farms, for example. So that being said, what I'm going to be teaching you today is how to do a fast castle boom, and that's going to get you a super strong economy ready for the Imperial Age. So to be clear, that's a lot different from fast castle knights build, because we're going to be skimping on a lot of military just to go for pure economy. So we're not building barracks, we're not building stables, we're just building farms and lumber camps and mining camps, and that's it, NTCs. Since this is a general build, I don't think that I'm going to do a tier list here, because you should be able to do this with really any civ. I think that putting a tier list here would be pretty ingenuous of me and force people into the wrong line of thinking for this build specifically. So that doesn't leave me with much more else to say on that. And I think we should just get right into it. So let's get started. And hopping right into it, we're going to start out by building 2 houses. We're going to send our sheep to go scout, and we are going to also send our scout to go scout, obviously. We queued up our villagers, and we're going to send the first 2 through 7 population villagers onto our sheep. So sometimes, like what I like to do, I like to shift click my villagers so that when they're done building the houses, they'll immediately go over to the sheep. We're also doing sheep scouting with 3 of our sheep sometimes, or if you don't really have like the APM to do that, maybe you just want to do it with 1 sheep. That's feedback that I've been getting, is sometimes I explore the map too much with my sheep, and not all players will be able to do that. So I do think it's a necessary skill, so I think I still need to do it, but I can also just provide you guys the workarounds. So your next 8 through 11 population are going to go into wood, so that's 4 villagers. Also, I had a little bit of a problem there where I had some time without sheep, so you don't want to do that, but let's get our lumber camp up, and let's keep exploring. Let's find those other sheep. We're really looking for our first 2 boars, which it looks like we found. We have the bottom one there, and to the bottom right of the screen, and as well as the one that's up near the wood line at the top. And we just want to be doing circles until we find the sheep, and we have those 4 villagers on wood. Another feedback that I got from you guys was to actually play these in a real game, and I played this in 1v1v1, so this is a nice free-for-all, and I wouldn't recommend doing this build on in Arabia normally, but since it's a free-for-all, people aren't really going to be rushing you, and I think it's a pretty good time to do it. So let's go get our boar with our 12th villager. So if you kind of got to gauge the distance on the boar, so if it's really far away, maybe send one of your sheep villagers to go get it, but since it seems to be pretty close, we're going to send the 12th. We're also going to build 2 houses with the 13th villager there once it comes out. And let's lure the boar. Okay, we shot it. Perfect. Let's get our sheep. Now we have all of our sheep. And let's build those 2 houses that we were talking about. And then we're going to send the next 4 villagers onto berries. So let's put the food there. Perfect. Let's not take too much damage. We don't want to lose a villager. And let's keep TC running. Get the mill built. Perfect. Okay. So now the 15, 16, 17 population are also going to go onto that berries. We're going to finish walling the gap here with this villager. So this build is a little bit more flexible on the villager that you can use to actually go and wall. It also is pretty dependent on how much you need to be walling. So if you're on a black forest, like, you probably need to send a villager out a little bit earlier, or if you're, you know, on another closed off map, maybe you don't need to use the villager there. That's perfectly fine, right? You can just use that villager elsewhere, or put them on berries, whatever. So we're going to be, at this point, luring the next boar and pulling in that boar. Okay, perfect. So we want to use one of our sheep villagers to lure the boar, and not actually a specific villager from the town center. And we're going to be doing the same thing, hiding the villager once it actually gets low. Perfect. And our 18 and 19 population goes onto that boar. So I know it popped up on the screen there a little bit earlier, but let me just say it out loud. And let's continue walling with this villager. Actually, no, let's send them back to berries. So this way we're going to have 5 on berries, and that's what most builds will tell you to do. So they want you to have 5 on berries for a pretty long time, and I like to use one of those berries villagers to go and wall, since berry gathering is the slowest possible food gathering rate. We're going to send the 20 to 24 population villagers onto our wood line and build 2 farms with our injured villagers near the town center. And let's see here. Okay, so we have all of our sheep, and we're going to position 1 sheep so that it actually gets eaten after the boar. We're also going to build a new lumber camp with one of those wood villagers from 20 to 24, and that way we spread out our wood eco there pretty nicely. We're also going to want to build a house with a wood villager, right? So here I'm building it with one of those that's created from the town center, but really you could use it with one that's already on a wood line, or, you know, whatever suits your fancy with this villager. And doing pretty well here. So you can also, like, right now we're around 22 population coming up, and if you want to be walling with the villager, that's no problem, right? Like, or 23, 24 population now. Like, if you want to be walling like right now, that's actually perfectly fine. Like, especially if you think that you're going to be rushed, I would send another wood villager out to go and wall. If you think that you're going to get a lot of pressure, just because I know that, let me talk on this real quick, is your 24 and 27 population are going to go and build the mining camp, which is then going to go to your gold. But yeah, like I was saying, if you feel like you're going to be rushed, always use a villager a little bit early. I would also say that my walls here aren't perfect, so you know, maybe you can do a little bit less walling, or wall at the front of your base first, but I'm just walling just to close off gaps. You can also take a sheep villager, like I do here, to go and wall some of those gaps. And also, it's optional, so depending on your map, research Loom, right? Here we're on Arabia. I definitely want to research Loom just in case that I get some of that pressure, or some of that pressure gets through. So we're going to research Loom, and once we're done that, we should be able to click up to Feudal. Let me reposition this gold villager. Okay, perfect. Okay, now we're up to Feudal, and we're going to have 6 people on sheep, right? So with those 6 people, we need to have 8 farms total. So as that sheep's expiring, go and build your farms. Okay. So she's going to eat that last sheep. We're going to have 7 farms, and she's going to go chop a tree so we can have 8 farms. So I'm also using one of the sheep villagers to continue walling over there on the left. And there we are. So now we have 8 of our farms. We're going up. There's not really much else we need to do here other than, let's say, like, maximize our economy. So, like, make sure your villagers aren't getting blocked, and make sure that you're getting pretty optimal gathering rates so that we can, you know, do an instant click up. And what we're going to want to also do, what we're also going to want to do when we reach our castle age, or our feudal age, is we're going to want to build a blacksmith and a market as quickly as we can, right? So you're going to see here that I'm a little bit slower than I should be. And we're building walls. So you also want to build the market and the blacksmith with 1 wood villager, and preferably your gold villagers, right? So if you already have 200 gold, which at this point you should, then build it with your gold villagers. And let's continue walling. Let's continue building. We're going to build those 2 villagers from the town center to go onto wood. And once we can, we're going to click up to the castle age. So, okay. Everything from this point has been pretty standard, right? We're waiting to click up, we're waiting to click up. Waiting for that market to be developed there on the bottom right. Okay, perfect, now we can click up. So everything has been pretty standard, right? Like you'll find most of this in most of the fast castle builds that are out there. So I think at this point is where it starts to get a little bit unique. So we're gonna wanna go to, get our double bit axe upgrade. We're also gonna wanna get a horse collar. Let's finish walling off. And we're gonna build 2 farms that are berry villagers. Okay, perfect. There we go. And then these 3 villagers that were on berries that are left over, we're gonna send them over to wood once the berries expire. We're only gonna have, around 3 or 4 on gold. I think 3 is definitely enough. What we're doing with these gold villagers, now this is the important part. We're just gathering enough gold to buy 100 stone, and then we're gonna leave gold. A lot of people and a lot of like newer players that I see that follow these builds are saying, hey, I need 100 food for a 4th town center. Or I need 100 stone for a 4th town center. Let me go and gather it. It is so much quicker in this case and so much less resource intensive just to buy the stone straight out. So you don't want to go and gather the stone unless you're like maybe Koreans or something. But even then, I would just suggest sticking with buying the stone. But once we research up to castle age here, we're going to want to drop down our extra 2 TCs immediately. So let's get those villagers prepared to do that. And every villager from this point on is going to go to wood, right? So we're going to get a 4th TC or 2nd TC there, 3rd TC there. Okay, perfect. Refresh our farms. So we're also going to research Heavyplow and Bowsaw when we can. And here's where we actually buy our 100 stone. Okay, perfect. So now we have 100 stone and we can build that 4th town center, but we're not going to yet, right? Like we physically cannot afford to go and build a 4th town center. And even if we could, right? So let's say that you can build 4th town center here. Don't do it. With that same wood, go build more farms. And this is, oh God, I feel terrible about that. Oh God. Oh God. Okay, so just keep building your villagers onto wood. We'll pretend like I didn't just lame that guy's farm. And we're gonna keep constant production out of these town centers, right? See, if you build that 4th town center, like I said, you won't be able to keep constant production out of all 4, so why even have all 4 if that's the case? We're also gonna build farms every time we have 60 wood. And since we have Heavyplow, these should last pretty long. And let's just try and keep that villager production constant. And this is the only tough part, and I don't think it's that tough, right? You see 60 wood, you put a farm down. Also, what I would suggest is that you start building houses so that you don't get housed during this. That seems to be a pretty popular one, but if you do get housed, it's no biggie. Just go build a house and continue on with the build. Okay, so we have about 39 villagers. We're still pumping out bills. We're trying to keep that constant production. It's pretty tough at this point because we're running low on food that we had stockpiled. And we just want to try and get enough villagers to constantly produce villagers. So enough food villagers to constantly produce villagers. Notice how we didn't put any on gold yet, right? Because we do not need that as a resource. In fact, we're spending our resources pretty nicely, right? Like we're using our wood when we can, we're using our food when we can. We are strapped for resources right now. We can't afford to be gathering gold. It's not doing anything for us yet. So, okay, now we have our wood, and I'm struggling to keep production out of all 3 TCs. Now, if you have like another civ, like the Slavs or the Khmer, or someone who's going to gather faster, that's perfect. The Vikings. Okay, and here we have so many farms that we're going to want to get our wheelbarrow. Oh God. And I just had these rallied to the middle of nowhere. And also, if you look at, so we're researching wheelbarrow, we're producing out of all of our town centers, and we have all this extra wood now, right? So let's go and build a town center. So now this is where your economy should really start kicking off. And we're just going to keep building farms, keep building houses, keep building farms, keep building houses. Got over 60 wood. Okay, perfect. And this is kind of where, you know, it's up to you at this point, right? So once you get that 4th town center down, you can start building a university. You can start producing, you know, if you need more pressure on the map now, you can start building like barracks into stables, or, you know, just any type of military. I like to just, you know, continue to keep booming, so I just keep building farms, and I wait until I have about, you know, like 45, maybe 50 farms before I go to imperial. And also around this time, when we're starting to stockpile food and we can't spend it fast enough, that's when we're going to want to start to build or put our villagers onto gold. So I think we're going to start doing that soon here. And like you can see now that we're starting to stockpile wood, it's because we have so much wood, and we're going to build some farms. And see, so we're doing a pretty good job spending our resources, and even while we're spending our resources, we're still stockpiling the essential resources, right? So at this point is kind of when I would want to start sending some people to gold. I didn't really feel any pressure coming, so I just kind of want to be really greedy and, you know, continue to boom here. But yeah, I would say, you know, around the 65 population mark, maybe even a little bit sooner, like the 60 population mark, you can go and start sending people over to gold. And start doing that here. You definitely want to get your gold upgrades as well, so get gold shaft mining when you can. And that's kind of the build, right? So from here, it's too personalized per person what you kind of can and want to do to actually continue, you know, giving you advice here. But what I would suggest maybe is to build your university and build your monastery, or whatever, you know, buildings you need to in order to advance up to the imperial age. I would also suggest at some point, if you wanted to change this a little bit and maybe build a castle, you can go and gather some stone. So that's all for this video. Let me know if you have any improvements that you want me to include in the next video, or if you have any specific build order that you want me to go after for the next video. A lot of what came out of this video was a result of people messaging me and saying that they needed help booming on maps like Black Forest and Arena. So I figured that this could help out a lot, and, you know, help people have a much more pleasurable experience on those maps. That being said, I think that's all I have for this video. If you have any questions, let me know, and have a great rest of your day. Bye.